Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. Frank here, continuing to work on the Mini Motor Grader's ripper assembly. I've got the hydraulic cylinder here that I'm going to use to operate the lift mechanism on the back of the motor grader. I'll show you that real quickly where it goes, and then we'll come back here and start. I've got to build an adapter, a mounting point for the cylinder, and I'll show you what I need to do. All right, this is a picture of ripper assembly on the back of a motor grader, and this is the type of mount that I'm working on. You can see the hydraulic cylinder here, so you can see the end of the cylinder. It's not supported at the end of the cylinder, it's supported somewhere in the middle of the cylinder, and I'll show you why that needs to be done. It needs to be done that way, but that's where I need to build a mount on the middle of a cylinder, attached to a top point on the ripper bar, and then it goes to a low point on the tractor. So I'll show you those points, and then we'll start working on this mounting assembly for the cylinder. I want to try to use this arrangement here because ultimately, you know, between this connection point and the two lower connection points here and over there, the ripper assembly would fit on a standard tractor category 1 3-point hitch. So I could use this on the back of my Kubota. I could also put it on the front of my bulldozer if I wanted to do that, which has basically a 3-point hitch on it. So either way, but here I'm using the quad link arrangement. So all right, this is the replacement lower link we talked about last week on the plate. These would be the links for the split collar. Ten thousandths on each side of this cut. All right, so I'm going to see if there's some way for me to fixture this so that these two pins are in a line. Perhaps even centered on the ring. You know, it's I don't think it has to be perfect. So I do want it to be close. So what I'll have is a link, basically like a chain link, go around this pin, go around a pin through the hole on the frame, and so that'll give movement to the cylinder so it can pivot properly. Okay, it's getting complicated, but I think it's going to work out okay. I have to cut new links though, so at least this way I can get to the cap screws. Won't have any issue with that. All right, we'll see how this holds up. I'm going to get a little more. We'll let that cool off. All right, let's see if we can get this together here. All right. That's pretty well attached there. Can't really reach the set screw, cap screw with that. See if I can extricate myself. I have so little working room here. So the lift cylinder is attached at the bottom point there. I made a new bracket that's a couple inches longer, so that fit fine. So we'll see how high this will lift with the 12-inch stroke and decide if we need a longer cylinder, but I think this will probably be fine. All right, let's give myself a little more room to work here. All right, let's see if we can operate this cylinder with some compressed air. This is going to be like 135 psi. And not enough to lift it. There we go. Give it a little bit of help. Not quite enough. 135 psi is not quite enough to lift it. It didn't take much to get it to come up, but we'll have this air leaking out. Just squirt some fluid. All right, so that's the maximum height at that, which is certainly, which is basically horizontal. All right, it's air bleeding out. I will mention that there's something I didn't film, didn't record, is I lengthened all 4 of these links. I had them at 14 inches. And these are 17 inches. So I lengthened them by 3 inches. The Scarfire was too close to the tractor, almost down vertically. So it needed to be out at some angle similar to this when it's actually operating. So I made new links. I didn't record it, but because it was the same stuff you saw before. I've ordered a bunch of safety nuts for the 3/4 inch bolts here. They're so expensive in the store, they're like $5 a piece. I ordered 20 of them for $14 off boltdepot.com. Okay, so at least the cylinder has enough leverage given sufficient pressure to lift the give it a little more, take a little bit of weight off of it. All right, so that looks like it's going to work fine. So it's bleeding off the air. This air chuck is a little All right, so I think that's going to work. We'll have 600 psi instead of 135 psi. I mean, the potential here, options would be to, I mean, it can't really make it much longer. I could move this collar back, might move back a half an inch, but I don't think that, is not worth probably doing. A longer cylinder could certainly be used. And if it turns out that, I need to do that, it's easy enough to just undo this split collar and swap out the cylinder. All right, guys, that's it for this week. This is a good stopping point. Clearly, the cylinder operates and lifts the ripper with a little bit of assistance. I'm using 125 or 35 psi air, so it's really only getting a couple hundred pounds of force on the piston in the cylinder. So I think it's to be 1.6 times 135, so whatever that is. Certainly with 600 psi hydraulics from the tractor, from the grader system, it will have no problem picking this thing up. So I'm confident of that. And even right now, it doesn't have all the rippers in it, which is another 50 pounds or something. So I'm pretty stoked that it's working as I intended. I did increase the length of the 4 link bars on this from what I had them before at 14 inches. I made them 17 inches long because I felt like they were too short, and at the bottom, at the all the way down position, it was, too much of an angle down. So bring the angle up a little bit. That makes it easier for the cylinder to lift and simplifies the geometry for the hydraulics a little bit. And I think it looks better as well. So that's done. I've got a couple things I need to do. I'll probably do some of that stuff off camera between now and next episode. I need to take it apart, finish welding it up, the mounting plate and lower attachment point. I think everything else is welded. I might hit it with a coat of paint. We'll come back next time working on the hydraulics. I need to find a place to mount the hydraulic valve. I have a double acting twin spool valve. I really only need one spool, but I bought a twin spool valve thinking, maybe there'll be another need in the future. Plan ahead. Doesn't cost any more, I don't think. So I need to work on that, and I do have a crimping machine for the hydraulic hoses. It's the crimping machine that was all the rage on YouTube do-it-yourselfers about a year ago. I bought it to do the hoses for the articulated tractor, and I showed it. So if you go back and look at, some of those videos, the crimping machine is featured in at least one video. It's a little cheesy kind of machine, but I did buy a pedal operated, air-assisted hydraulic pump for it. So it makes it much easier to use than the handle pump it comes with. And I can use that for other things too. Actually, I could use it for here. But it goes to, 5,000 psi. So I'm not gonna hook it up to this. I want to get the tractor's hydraulics hooked up. So mounting the valve, running the hoses, I got to break into the existing hydraulic loop. Need to make sure I've got the Power Beyond port sorted, and so that all the existing hydraulics work and I don't steal power from them, right? So all that stuff's coming up in the next episode or two. So you may want to ring that bell to be notified of upcoming episodes. I generally publish episodes on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, US. If you haven't subscribed yet, it would be wonderful if you could do that. It doesn't cost you anything and helps out the channel a whole bunch. So I would appreciate that. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate you viewing the videos that I publish. I hope you enjoy them. We'll see you next week.